jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
What's going on YouTube? Uncle Mike here. And today I'm going to be showing you my black bean recipe that I use in lieu of carbs when I'm doing a carb cut or anything like that. And what's cool about this recipe is actually vegan friendly, which is something you never thought you'd hear come from my mouth. But it's actually a really good recipe. I got it off the internet. I have done a few modifications. I'm going to be showing you how I do it for my household, but also in explaining how you should do it traditionally. And to each his own. You can take this recipe and jazz it up however you would like, but this is what I do. All right, guys, so what you're going to do is take a pot or a pan, put it on the stove, set it to high, let it warm up and heat up. Then you're going to take a onion of your choice. I like to use fresh onions, but you can use any onion of your choice. In this video, I'm using the freshly chopped or finely chopped frozen onions from the store. The wife likes them better that way. And then what you're going to do is throw it in the pan and caramelize it. Now with these frozen onions, they're going to be a little bit more moisture than normal, which is fine. You just have to dry fry it a little bit longer. And as those onions are starting to fry in the pan with no oil, remember, no oil, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. There's 1 and there's 2. You can put more if you like. It's all preference. Garlic is good for you, by the way, so it doesn't matter. And then while those are starting to sweat a little bit on the onions, then you're going to start mixing it up. That way nothing gets stuck to the bottom of the pan and you don't burn any of the onions or the garlic. Just constantly move it around. As you see here in the video, that little bubbling by there, that's just the extra moisture from the frozen onions, like I mentioned. But what you're wanting to do on your dish, if you use fresh onions, is to have them sweat a little bit and start caramelizing like such. All right, now that you got the onions and the garlic caramelized, you're going to get a can of black beans with the juice. Pour it in there. Now, I'll speed up the video so you can hurry this along. It's a simple recipe. It shouldn't take too long to watch to cook. Get another can. I emptied out a little bit of the water on this one because I didn't want it to get too watery. But then I took 2 cans of vegetable broth. And this is where it comes vegan friendly. You can use different broth, like beef or chicken, but I use vegetable. It comes out just fine. Put that in there. See, vegetable broth. Stir it up to loosen up any of the sediment and mix in that juice from the beans and the vegetable broth together. Now, if you want to use fresh beans instead of canned beans, make sure you soak them for at least 12 to 24 hours before you use the fresh black beans. And now with the seasonings, you're going to put a little bit of turmeric in there. You can put 2 to 3 teaspoons of each. I don't really measure, so I just go with what feels right. Then you're going to get some cumin, paprika, oregano, and parsley. So I'm putting paprika there. Again, no measurements. There's some oregano. Now with the cumin, I don't add too much. That one is probably at least 1 teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon. There's some parsley. Now, you can use fresher ingredients. That's always welcome too, but with these over-the-counter spices, it does just fine. There's the cumin. And then you use salt. I was going to put rosemary in there, but last time I used it, it didn't come out right. But then you're going to get salt and pepper. Not too much salt. You don't really need a lot of it because with those seasonings in there, the beans come out very flavorful. And I use sea salt or pink Himalayan rock salt at any given time. And what that does, it helps you have the saltiness but reduces your sodium intake. So there you go. Stir up the beans. Get the spices nice and mixed up. Be careful with the broth and juice mix right when you do it. You don't want to stir it too fast. You'll end up spilling some sauce over the edge. But there you go. And you're going to stir that until the beans are rendered down. And remember, on high heat, you want to constantly stir it. Remember, constantly stir.
One eternity later.
Okay, now that you've been stirring it for a while, it's going to look like this, which is good because you want that juice and broth to render down. Now, after it's gotten to this point, you're about 2 to 3 minutes from it being done. I've sped up the video, that way it doesn't take too long. And that is pretty much it. Just keep on stirring it. It's going to be a brownish or green color depending on how much of the turmeric or the cumin you've used. But don't let that off-put you. This bean dish is actually very delicious. And like I said, since we use the veggie broth, it's vegan friendly. Now, you can serve this with chicken, beef, pork, fish, anything you like. The night that I made this, I had done a shredded beef dish that I want to do in another video shortly after this one. And it came out great. It's very fulfilling. It's very delicious. I haven't grown tired of it yet. And it's simple as pie. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Remember, onion, garlic, can of black beans, can of veggie soup, paprika, cumin, turmeric, salt, pepper, parsley, and oregano. And just mix it together. It's a very good dish. It's very healthy, high in fiber, high in protein. Enjoy.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.